if I'm talking my inside sales group, it's
Hmm.
definitely amount of touches per day, which again goes back to my point of the persistence, right? It's
Hmm.
building your book of business, putting in as many leads into the funnel as you can, so this way the funnel keeps growing and the leads will start to filter through. I went to school to be a teacher, and then I back then teachers didn't make a lot of money, so I was
Hmm.
actually making more money in construction, so I said I'll just stick with construction,
Hmm.
and lo and behold, I was in it for 16 years. And
Wow.
then yeah, so then I kind of got tired of it, from because I was managing multiple people,
Hmm.
and I was also not really doing a lot of the construction work, but doing a lot of the sales and marketing and trying to grow the business that way, and found that I was actually pretty successful in it. So, although there's not a lot of money in commission in selling construction, so I decided to try a sales job, selling electricity and natural gas for
Hmm.
a large producer in the states, and again was very successful that way. Moved up pretty quickly. Was managing a team of 10 within 6 months,
Wow.
and did that for another year, and then decided that again I kind of hit my plateau with that company. In order for me to move up, two people that were way above me and have been there for 5, 6, 7 years would
Hmm.
have to leave or them get moved up. So I decided to take a job in IT. Very glad that I did, as this is a place that's ever changing.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of room for growth. I came in kind of low at the company that I'm still currently with, and moved up pretty quickly,
Hmm.
from inside sales to sales operations. And then I started managing inside sales and took over the full sales operations for the company. So currently, I'm inside sales manager of 5 inside sales reps, and I also manage one sales operations specialist, and I pretty much own everything that is demand generation and pre-sales as far as the sales go.
Blimey. So you're an incredibly busy man, to say the least.
Yes, I am.
God, amazing.
So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I mean, I love coaching.
Hmm.
I love mentoring people. So being in a sales manager's job, I get to do that. So
Hmm.
it's definitely first and foremost my favorite thing about it.
Hmm. So I saw that you were promoted to doing the sales manager role as well as the sales ops.
Correct.
Was that because you enjoy the personable side of sales manager so much that you didn't want to be solely sales ops, or?
We're kind of a smaller company. We're a company of 50, well, maybe 55 now. We
Mhm.
kind of keep growing, shrinking, but we're
Mhm.
around 55. So there was a need for sales operations, which I literally, when I came in, I was in the inside sales role for 4 months,
Mhm.
and I seen a lot of holes in a lot of places that needed improvement.
Mhm.
So I made a presentation to the executives and said, "This is how we do it. This is how I think we should do it,"
Mhm.
and they agreed. So I kind of took on the sales operations by myself.
Mhm.
We had never really, I mean, we had sales operations, but we didn't really have a designated team for it.
Mhm.
So I changed the way that we did sales operations and the way that we did inside sales.
Oh,
So
amazing.
um, by me doing that, I ended up owning both of them. So and to be honest with you, on top of that, I kind of have a third role.
Mhm.
There's no title or anything, but I'm like the liaison between sales and marketing. So
Oh my
everything marketing
goodness.
does, I kind of have a I kind of have a say in the decision making. Then I have a say in the lead distribution. All the leads filter through me. I either give them to my team on the inside, or I
Mhm.
give it to the field reps. And then I'm also part of the execution. So technically, I kind of have three roles. So
So
um,
technically, you're a single man keeping the whole thing afloat by the sounds of it. Amazing.
That's why I said pretty much anything pre-sales definitely runs through me.
Yeah, amazing. So which part, I know you said you work, your favorite part is, being in the sales team and managing the sales team. Would you say that's your favorite part of your role now?
Um, it's kind of hard because
Mhm.
I love the team that I have. There's really great camaraderie. So even through this tough time with with the pandemic, we've
Mhm.
stayed really close knit. We've actually stayed really successful.
Mhm.
So it's hard to say. Prior to that, though, I love sales operations. I love how everything starts, the process through it. I'm a big
Mhm.
process guy, so the process of sales operations to me is really intriguing. But the way things are right now, I got to say, just managing the inside
Mhm.
team has definitely been my favorite.
Mhm. I get that, because quite a few people we've spoken to that are solely sales ops have said it can be little bit lonely, at this moment, because you're liaising with different teams and the different revenue functions of the company, but sometimes you're not, directly working with people. And I agree, at a time like this, it really is important, like human interaction and camaraderie and having those relationships with people, because sometimes it's just what gets you through the day. So it's really
Agreed.
nice that you have the balance of the two, and you can sort of do all the processes that you like whilst maintaining a nice team. That is the
Right.
dream.
Yeah. Right. Or a nightmare. Depends how you look at it.
Well, yeah, it depends what you enjoy, I suppose.
Right.
So how many sales, because you're quite a small company, aren't you? But sales makes up quite a significant amount of it, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're like I said, we're about 55 people right now.
Mhm.
We have like 10 people on the executive side.
Mhm.
We currently have 12 field sales reps. We have
Mhm.
5 inside sales reps.
Mhm.
I have one sales operations specialist. We have like 5 or 6 sales engineers.
Mhm.
We have delivery folks. So I mean,
Oh my goodness,
it's
yeah.
the main driver in our company though is definitely the sales squad.
Mhm. Yeah. And then are you on a CRM like Salesforce, or how do you track them? You're on Salesforce.
Salesforce, yep.
How do you find Salesforce?
I'm one step away from becoming a Salesforce admin too. I've been doing it since the
Uh-huh.
pandemic started. I said I'm going to take all the classes and make sure. So I got a pretty good grasp on Salesforce.
Mhm.
As a company, I don't think we use it correctly.
Mhm.
So as the years go on, and part of sales operations is trying to
Mhm.
fix that. So
Mhm.
we've definitely made some strides and some improvements in fixing Salesforce and
Mhm.
making it easier to do analytics and reporting, etc. But
Mhm.
we're definitely getting to a better place, and it seems like a lot of
Mhm.
the newer folks that we've onboarded are definitely grasping that. Some of the older folks don't really use Salesforce the right way, and to change them is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I think as new people come into the company, as long as we're kind of transitioning them into making sure that Salesforce is, if it's not in Salesforce, it doesn't exist. I think
Mhm.
if we have that mentality,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll
We
get
we
places.
have that mentality as well. My manager's always like, not in Salesforce, it's not real, so update it. But agreed, we do see a lot of people that we speak to say it's hard to integrate people who've been in the field a long time onto Salesforce and like sort of establish the importance of it, because it's a really great CRM. So I think, people that have been in the
Agreed.
industry a long time and don't use it, they sometimes don't see the importance of it, but it's really good to capture everything in one place.
Right.
So
Yep. And
agreed.
again, I think again we use it for some stuff,
Mhm.
but again, not everyone uses it. So someone like me in sales operations with the analytics and the reporting,
Mhm.
um, there's certain things that just aren't in there that I'm like, oh, come on now. So,
Yeah. So how do you do your sort of reporting and forecasting if it's not on Salesforce or through Salesforce?
I mean, so and again, my inside team also uses a platform, a sales platform. It's called Sales Loft. Not
Mhm.
sure if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we use that. So I definitely I can pull a lot of analytics and reporting on my
Mhm.
on my inside team right through there.
Mhm.
And and a lot of that, obviously, everything talks to Salesforce as well. So a lot of the integrations, I'm able to pull reports from there as well. But
Mhm.
as far as like the full overall sales stuff, I mean, again, I own pre-sales, so I
Mhm.
don't I don't deal with everything. Again, obviously, I run sales operations, so I have to deal with it in some regard.
Hmm.
But we do have a Salesforce admin that kind of handles the sales reporting
Hmm.
in a much deeper level than I do.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, as you said, it's kind of needed if, you're capturing that much data and you're also, leading a sales team and doing sales ops. If you were sat there trying to drum in all the Salesforce stuff as well, I think you'd lose your marbles. So what would you say during, I suppose, your whole career, the biggest challenge you've ever faced is?
The pandemic. I
Is
mean,
it? I mean, I
yeah.
don't know why
So
I'm saying is it as if that's a shock. It has been a horrendous
I
time.
mean, my since I've taken over inside sales, we've definitely been very successful.
Hmm.
And even through this, we have the the toughest thing now is just trying to get to people. And then when you finally do, is everyone has like, we don't have budget, we don't have this, we don't have
Hmm.
that, and it's all there's way too many uncertainties. So when we've been successful, no matter what, it's just if if the pandemic wasn't here this year, I can only imagine how successful we would have been. It
Hmm.
would have probably been like the best year in our company's history, just from a new company acquisition, because we've built so many relationships in spite of the pandemic. So I
Hmm.
as successful as we've been, it's still definitely been the toughest part.
Yeah, I get what you mean in the sense of, if you can still, I think if a company can still, I mean, some survive, but some still, grow and scale in this environment. It's interesting to imagine what it could have done if this didn't happen. I think,
Agreed.
we're a tiny little startup, and I think we've seen success, but as you said, it's hard to capture how different that could have been if not for the pandemic. But that's sort of what's driven this community building that we're doing. Because we were like, right, I don't want to be hard pushing and selling on people. I just want to get people together in the community and chat to people and see where we can get it, because I think it's necessary right now,
Agreed.
definitely.
Agreed.
Um, so which is you sort of answered some of my questions while you were talking, so I'm having to go a bit rogue. What is the best time in your career that you can think of? Like, when have you been like, this is great, or in life?
So I guess my first sales job when I got out of construction,
Hmm.
I I always told my wife at the time too, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be successful at sales. I'm like, I don't want to go business to business, because at that time I was actually knocking on businesses' doors. So I would
Wow.
literally go from this business to the next business, blah 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 blah, all the way down the street. And so I'm like, I don't know if that's for me. And like I said, I ended up finding success really early,
Hmm.
and I think it's just, I don't know if I got lucky because of the construction background. Like, I was always talking to people. I knew what people wanted, so I had kind of like the laid back approach, relationship style selling.
Hmm.
Um, but there was a week where I set the company record for most sales in a week, most sales in a day, and I also had the biggest sale ever, and it was all in the same week. So
Oh
and
my
and
goodness.
that was crazy. And it was like, it was just one of those things where I'm a very persistent person, but not to the point where I annoy you, but enough
Hmm.
to say, hey, I'm actually here, I'm trying to
Hmm.
help you, etc. So it was all of that persistence that I was doing for the 3-4 months prior to that, and it all just came together at once. So it really made me
Wow.
see that I can be successful in sales, and what it takes to be successful. And it's that work ethic, and the persistence, but not the annoying persistence.
Yeah.
There's definitely a fine line.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a really difficult balance to strike between, as you said, letting your presence known, because sometimes it is a bit like, I am here and I do want to help you, but it is a bit like, right, this is actually a human being and I don't want to hound them, because
Right.
nobody wants that. And similar to, like you said, I think a really big thing in sales is when you start realizing, as you said, you create your own sort of success in it. Someone may look at it from the outside and be like, whoa, you had a phenomenal week, but you worked for months up until that to make that success happen and put
Yeah.
those opportunities in your pipeline, and you wouldn't have had it without it. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting career to be in. But
Right.
I'm glad you had
It's
such a
it's
good
got its ups
time.
and downs. There's no doubt about that. But
Yeah.
when the highs are high, it's it's definitely a cool spot to be in.
Definitely, absolutely. I sent through some sections just for some quick fire questions round. I can read them out if you don't have them on your screen. That is absolutely fine.
I don't think I've seen them. Were they in the email?
Yeah, they were in the email. I think it's like the second. I can read them out if you don't have them because I've got them in front of me.
Yeah, no, actually I do. But you can read them out.
I'll read them
That's
out.
fine.
I'll read them
Yeah.
out. So there's different sections you can pick from. So there's best practice forecasting, a section on that. There is a section on new process adoption, a section on key metrics that align the revenue function, so metrics that matter, or driving good relationships between different revenue teams. Which would you rather delve into, Dave?
Let's see. Let's go with the key metrics.
Key metrics that align revenue functions.
That seems like
Okay.
a difficult one.
So, which metrics do you really focus on as your core as a revenue function?
So if I'm talking my inside sales group, it's
Mhm.
definitely amount of touches per day, which again goes back to my point of the persistence, right? It's
Mhm.
building your book of business, putting in as many leads into the funnel as you can, so this way the funnel keeps growing and the leads will start to filter through. And I always
Mhm.
use this stupid analogy, but it works, is if your funnel's this big, nothing's going to fall through. But the bigger you make your funnel, the more that things start to fall through. And my
Oh,
team understands that. And
I
as
don't think
stupid
that's.
and cliche as it is, it's a visual piece that seems to work.
I like that. I've not seen that one. So I actually like that one. Our manager uses a horrendous dating analogy, and he's always like, if you're on a dating app, the more people you put in your funnel, the more chance you have of finding your Prince Charming. And when they're like, yeah, Rory, we're trying.
Yeah, right.
We're trying. And he's like, you got to do your research, because if someone just messaged you like off the cuff with no information and just tried to sell you them, you wouldn't be interested. And I'm like, that is true. So he's
Yeah.
always like, treat your prospects like your dating prospects. And I'm like, Rory, I'm not sure that those two should
I don't
align.
know if I'm doing that, but
So maybe I'll stick with the funnel size for now. Keep it
there
safe.
you go.
The second question is, why were those metrics chosen? But you've sort of explained that, just so that funnel size is kept as it should. To what extent do they bridge operation and the strategy divide?
Oh boy. I guess since I kind of own both, it's a critical part. And I guess the tough part when it comes to the company that I work with is we're a value-added reseller.
Mm-hmm.
We resell, the manufacturer's infrastructure, software, you name it. And then on top of that, we add our professional services and implementation team to kind of complete the solution. So we sell like 30 different manufacturers. So to figure out what works at each manufacturer, trickle that down into messaging, it's hard, right? There's so much information that we need to compile together, whether it's one pages, whether it's just call scripts, whether it's email all of that stuff all
Mm-hmm.
kind of comes into fold. And then on top of that, we have the reporting and the analytics that show, well, it took 150 touches to get one lead at this manufacturer, but it only took 25. So where can we kind of close the gap in between those? So long-winded answer is it's really difficult for us to try to figure out exactly what the KPIs are that work in order to set the meeting, build the pipeline, and essentially close the deal. And on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, our deal closures can be really long because, as I explained, it's not just, hey, we're going to sell you this software, we're going to sell you this infrastructure, we're going to sell you the whole piece as a solution. So when we do it that way, it can take 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to put it all together into one. So it does make things a little bit challenging.
Mm-hmm. As you say, especially when your deal cycles are long, it's hard to really predict where everything's going, because it's like, okay, well, this may do well in 12 months, but it's not.
Right.
It's we're working on it right now. How many deals are you sort of closing a month on average? I suppose it's
So
difficult at the
with the
moment, isn't it?
pandemic, it's made it a little bit tougher.
Hmm.
But I would say we're probably selling maybe 20 to 25 a month. And again, our deal sizes can range from, I don't know, 10 to 9 million, right? Like
Wow.
10,000 to 9 million, depending on the size of the solution, the
Hmm.
company, the relationships that we have. Because I mean, if you're selling a $9 million solution, there's obviously a lot of trust there. So
Yeah, yeah, you're not going to do that in a
that's
week.
a company, yeah, no, that's a company we've had for 10 to 15 years. So,
Yeah.
but that's where things get a little bit difficult. And typically we'd be doing more sales a month, but it's harder with new acquisition because
Hmm.
of the pandemic, people's budgets, uncertainties, that people are sticking with who they know. And if it's a white space account for us, makes it a little bit more difficult. So, but I would say, through the pandemic, we're about 20 to 25 deals a month. And again, that's
Hmm.
not including renewals, right?
Hmm.
Renewals I don't count as sales.
As
Maybe
deals, yeah.
maybe I shouldn't. But I'm talking like either new business or new acquisitions, or upsells in our current customer base.
Hmm. Well, as you said, amazing, especially considering, although you're a highly popularized sales company, like you're not a massive company. So those are amazing deals to be closing, especially at a time like this. So
Yeah.
you're certainly doing something right. Definitely.
Yeah.
The next question is, how do you measure success from the metrics you've chosen, which I suppose you sort of answered.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard, right? I measure success different because I'm on the pre-sale side.
Mhm.
So for me, we measure success in how many meetings that my team sets, and then from there, how much pipeline that they're able to create. So a successful so the beginning of the year, our goal as an inside group was to create $4 million in pipe. We're actually
Mhm.
at 6 million. So
Oh,
we've
wow.
actually shattered our goal by by a lot.
You
So
really did.
uh, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
That is
again,
crazy.
if you look at the bad side to it, the sales team hasn't closed a lot of it. So again, a lot of that has to do with COVID. Some of it
Mhm.
has to do with the sales cycle. Some of it has to do with just, you're going to lose deals, right? And if we could all close 100% of our deals, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right?
Mhm.
So that there are some variables in that, but at the same time, we still have a great pipeline into even 2021. So, my team's done a great job. So success from my view is the amount of meetings and then the pipeline that's created.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agreed with that one. Can you hear my computer going off? I'm really sorry if you can.
No.
Okay, that's fine. It's just such an annoying sound. I was really worried you could hear it. I don't know how to mute it. Um, what mistakes have you learned that you could share with the community?
I guess trying to, when it comes to sales, trying to have everybody work in one way.
Mhm.
I've learned the hard way that everyone's different. What works for someone's not going to work for the next, and doesn't mean that they're not successful or don't have the opportunity to be successful. It's
Mhm.
just they either learn at a different pace, or some people are more relationship selling, some people are more pressure selling, some people are just laid back and kind of roll with the punches, right? So I think it's the I think the biggest mistake that I made at the beginning was trying to make everybody do it my way,
Mhm.
when my way was successful for me, but might not be successful for someone else.
Mhm. I think that's one of my favorite lessons I've had so far.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we're a really small sales team and all of us are incredibly different. And I
Yeah.
think it really shows that you get people together and different things just don't work. You can train someone completely differently, or you can give someone a bit of advice and they won't want to do that because that's not what they want to do. And then it's really obvious that they're not comfortable with that, type of selling, and then it just all falls apart. So yeah, I think it's really good, as you said, to remember not everyone is the same.
So the way that I built my 5 sales reps
Mhm.
is kind of designed that way. So I have which I call senior inside sales reps. So it's people that have been on the inside for a long time.
Mhm.
By long, anywhere from, we'll say, 5 plus years, we'll say.
Mhm.
And then I have 2 junior sales reps, which is their first sales job, either out of college or like myself, out of a different career. And then I have one in the middle that's been doing it for like 2 or 3 years. So that's how I built my team. So this way, it's like we can all show each other different things. And basically my rule to them is take the information that you think is important to you and make it your own. And if you're doing that on a daily basis, you're going to end up being successful because you're going to take what's working for somebody and put it in your own way. So that's just how I do it.
I really like that. That's really good because, as you said, you can then learn, and people that have been in it a long time will know different people in sales, and they will have seen how different things work, and they've seen, you know, they can all help each other develop. So I love that. Very good structure.
Thank you.
That's the last question. Have you got any questions for me? I feel like I've asked you a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, how many? I guess so. How many of these like type of interviews have you been doing?
Have I been doing, or have we been doing?
We'll start with you, and then your
So
group as a
I've
whole.
only been doing this job 6 weeks, so I've not done that many.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a little newbie. I did have a sales job before, but yeah, I graduated like mid-pandemic, so
Oh, really?
I'm a little newbie, and I did a law degree and trained to be a lawyer, and then didn't want to do it.
Really? Why
Yeah.
not?
I mean, I think multiple elements, and I may choose one day to go back into it, but I have quite a I love people, and it's not even just oh my God, I love people. It's 2020. I love everyone. Like, I literally love people. And I really found that in working in law firms, I was suppressing a kind of natural thing that I had. You know, people didn't really want to talk. It was a very singular job. Everyone was like
Yeah.
they wanted to do their own thing. Like, I asked a guy what he had for lunch one day, and you honestly would have thought that I'd like said something horrendous. He looked at me as if, why are you making small talk with me? And I was like, oh, I don't think this is the environment for me. So yeah, I did it anyway, because it's a really good degree and I really enjoyed it, and then moved into sales.
Good. No, and
Um,
again, your personality is definitely fitting for sales, so
Thank you very
I can
much.
understand the change.
I'll take that. Thank you very much. So yeah, we're doing roughly, 6, 7 a week now, and then some of the guys that have been here a bit longer than me, Tom, who I work with, does about 12, 13 a week. So at the moment, we're sort of working on them, and then we write up a blog post based on the conversation we've had. I'll send that over to you before I, post it anywhere or post it on the blog or anything like that. And just basically, we all kind of select one of our favorite takeaways from the person we've spoken to and what we've spoken about. And then there's multiple avenues we can go down from there. So there's just the blog post. We're also starting a sort of roundtables community. So we're basically putting everyone all around the world that we've spoken to, if they want to, into a list to be emailed a topic a month. And then we sort of put everyone on a Zoom call and split them off into groups, and they chat to different people in the industry all over the world about, their strategy or best practices. So, I mean, if you wanted me to pop you down on that, or just send you information sort of on LinkedIn as we go along, I can do that.
Okay. Is that your end goal with having these interviews?
I
Or
mean, there's a few. So the biggest goal for us probably at the moment is, because of how everything's been with selling, we bring out a new version of our platform every month. So what we're doing is, from these interviews, we're updating our platform. So some people, if they want to look at it, which you guys qualify. So if you guys wanted to look at the platform and give us your thoughts on it, then you can do that. And that's sort of the end goal, because then we're getting communities' input of our platform. And then that gets added sort of to a little section of the platform, so it can say, this element was worked on by David, and get a little credit and stuff like that. So, I mean, we book on things like that, but people have to be sort of working with where our platforms aim to be, which is Salesforce and over, 12 sales reps. So you guys do fit. So if you're interested in looking at the platform, I can definitely book you in, because I think you and Rory would really get on. And he's our co-founder, so he's trying to just really get out there at the moment and work out what the people want, so we can give it to them. So that's sort of the main outtake. If we're talking sales next steps, that's probably the most structured way of saying it.
Understood. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't know exactly what my team wants, or I should say my company wants to purchase / implement anything new, just because, again, like the people we're selling to, budgets and our numbers are lower than where we want it to be from a sales perspective. So adding new tools and functionality, I'm not sure on. Doesn't mean I won't take a demo and check it out and see if the budget was there, if it was something that would make sense.
Okay, that sounds quite positive then. Could I book you in for a chat with Rory then? And then we'll
Sure.
just go from that. When, let me see if I've got his diary up here. When is good for you next week? Which
Next
days are
week
better?
is, I don't know, we have so around here we have Thursday and Friday off as Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, so
so
is it super hectic?
next week is definitely a no-go because Monday, Tuesday is very busy as we're trying to get a small week into really 2 days because that
Yeah.
Wednesday is a half day at best.
Oh, exciting though. You should get everything
Yeah,
done before then, have a little well-deserved time off.
yeah, I need it.
I bet you do. I could do. When are you guys back then? Are you back in like on the 30th, or would it have to be sort of looking at early December?
Let me pull up my calendar here.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, back on the 30th. That Monday is no good. Let's see, Tuesday. I could do Wednesday the 2nd. I'm pretty open
Wednesday
that
the
day.
2nd. Okay. And then timings wise, you guys are, did you say it was 11 o'clock there for you when it's 4 for me?
Yep, 11:30 now. 11:33.
11:30 now. So if I did 3 o'clock on Wednesday, would that be 10 a.m. for you? Is that right?
No. Oh wait, 3 o'clock for you?
Yeah, for us. Is that?
Okay, I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting you up in the middle of the night, don't worry.
Yeah, 10:30. Yeah, I mean 10:30 works for me. I could do a
Okay.
10:30 or a
Okay.
10. Either 10 or 10:30 works.
Yeah, should we do a 10? I could
Yeah,
do a 10.
yeah, that's fine.
Amazing. I will book you in then. I'll just send Rory a little bit of information about what we've spoken about, just so he's not showing you completely irrelevant stuff. And I'll also explain that it's not like you guys are looking to look for something right now. It's just sort of thoughts and opinions on it, and we'll just go from there.
Yep, sounds good.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, it's been so great to chat to you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then I'll fire over a little write-up of our blog post probably next week. Don't worry about confirming it if you're having your days off. It can go up whenever. So
Well,
no stress.
the downfall to my job is no matter what, my computer's open. So,
Yeah, I can imagine.
I tend to look at my email more than I'd like to, but that's
Yeah,
par for the course.
I think it's part of it. If you're a sales, you never switch off. Never switch off.
No, there's no such thing.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to me. I hope that you get your admin done and your meetings later go well. And I
All
will
right, I
speak to
appreciate that.
you very soon.
Okay, well, have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks very much.
All right, take care.
Bye.